Today is July 30th, and we're going to be hitting some news today. Some of the stuff we'll be talking about is FTX gets approval to operate in Dubai. U.S. senators criticize Fidelity on their Bitcoin 401k plans. Financial giant Schwab set to launch crypto-related ETF. BlackRock CEO describes something that sure sounds a lot like XRP. Pelosi goes to China, but she goes with a lot of drama. And it looks like Gary Gensler will be going after exchanges. So stay around and check it out. So in our first bit of news, we see that FTX wins full approval to operate crypto exchange in Dubai. Cryptocurrency exchange FTX said on Friday it was fully approved to operate its exchange and clearinghouse in Dubai as the Gulf Emirate pushes forward with plans to develop its digital asset sector. The Bahamas-based company said it will start off by offering regulated crypto derivative products and trading services to institutional investors in Dubai, as well as operate a non-fungible token marketplace and provide custodial services. This is great news for FTX and any holders of the FTT token. FTX is setting themselves up to be one of the largest crypto platforms in the world. And I wonder if the FTT token won't do what the BNB token did back in the day. It made huge gains. But sadly, meanwhile, here in the US, crypto companies' exchanges are being sued. And this is further proof that the shift of power here in crypto space is being taken away from America and moving over to the East. We have our government intentionally trying to keep the American investors poor and away from high reward crypto investments. They can't have America in the lead of the next financial system because there's too many elites that have their investments now parked throughout the East. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll see if our country can get it together. And in crooked politician news, we see that Dick Durbin has joined U.S. senators criticizing Fidelity's plan to include Bitcoin in 401k plans. It says that U.S. Senator Dick Durbin has joined the Labor Department and fellow Senators Elizabeth Warren and Tina Smith in flagging concerns over Fidelity Investments' plan to offer Bitcoin as an investment option for its 401k managed accounts. The letter, addressed to Fidelity Investment CEO Abigail Johnson, criticizes the firm's decision to offer workers the option to invest in an untested, highly volatile asset like Bitcoin. In April, the U.S.-based financial firm announced that it would allow investors to put Bitcoin into 401k retirement plans later this year, capping Bitcoin holdings at 20% of accounts value. In May, Warren co-signed a similar letter with Smith asking Fidelity about the appropriateness of its plans. Both letters echo concerns raised by the Labor Department about the appropriateness of the token as a store of value. We have grave concerns with what Fidelity has done, Ali Kouar, acting assistant secretary of the Employee Benefits Security Administration, told the Wall Street Journal in April. I think the American government is losing so much control so fast that they're pulling their hair out, trying to figure out any way they can to make sure they have a stranglehold on Americans. If Americans ever are able to invest and get wealthy, they'll wake up to this divisive game that both Republicans and Democrats are playing to stay in control of the country. Wealthy, happy, and healthy citizens do not depend on the government. And meanwhile, over in Gibraltar, a Gibraltar minister says he is collecting Bitcoin for his kids' future. Gibraltar's digital and financial services minister said he's collecting Bitcoin for his kids because he thinks Bitcoin adoption will increase tremendously in the future. Gibraltar's Minister for Digital and Financial Services, Albert Isola, recently gave an interview with Cointelegraph, and he said he's collecting Bitcoin for his kids because he thinks crypto adoption will soar in the future. He said, "I'm not at the stage yet where it's something that I'd use on a regular basis. It's more about buying some for the benefit of my kids in the years to come. I don't touch it." So this is good news. Here's the digital and financial minister in another country who believes in the future of Bitcoin and crypto, and he understands how important it is to invest early in emerging technologies like Bitcoin to create wealth for his family. I'm hoping that our politicians here in the U.S. see this attitude and act likewise. And in a little bit more good news, we see that financial giant Schwab set to launch its first crypto-related ETF on the New York Stock Exchange. Schwab Asset Management, the asset management division of the Charles Schwab Corporation, announced today that the debut of the Schwab Crypto Thematic ETF. Furthermore, Schwab Asset Management also announced that its first exchange-traded fund linked to cryptocurrencies would begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA from August 4th, according to a press release by the asset manager. In contrast to ETFs, which follow the performance of a diversified portfolio or basket of digital assets, Schwab's offering will provide investors access to firms that may profit from the development or use of cryptocurrencies and is intended to mirror Schwab Asset Management's new proprietary index, STCE. So this is good news. Any crypto adoption is good adoption, right? I'm hoping that more companies jump on board with these investment products, allowing for Americans to get used to the idea of investing in something that they've been told for so long is risky and not a good investment. So for you XRP holders out there, listen to what Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, has to say about Bitcoin and the need for a token that bridges payments between foreign currencies.
I mean, if you're going to launder money, it's been cash up to this point. So, I mean, Bitcoin is probably...
Or jewels.
Yeah, okay, but Bitcoin probably, for total money laundering, it's probably 0.0005. So why pick on Bitcoin for the money laundering when it's obviously hasn't been used up to... Al Capone never had any Bitcoin.
So I assume you're also talking about Libra then, too.
Libra I don't even think is a cryptocurrency.
I don't either. That's what I was going to say.
And I don't think it has any inherent value.
Besides, it's a debit card.
And I don't want it centrally... I mean, and Mark Zuckerberg's involved, and everybody gets to keep the float all...
Let's talk about the concept, though.
Yeah.
Forget about who's created it and what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, I was in Europe this past week. I had to buy a new briefcase because mine broke actually there.
When I was carrying cash to launder?
All jewels.
Yeah, all right.
When I was going to sign the receipt or the electronic thing, they'd asked me, do I want to pay in euro or dollar?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, dollar. Then I looked at it. I'm still being charged at 3%.
Terrible.
Okay. So, and when you think about all the people who send money, you know, they may work in one country, send money back home. They generally do that through organizations that charge 5 to 10%. Yeah. There is a need, whether it's a Libra or something else, to democratize the exchange of foreign currencies. Today, with computers and electronic market,
there shouldn't be that.
It should be 10 basis points, 5 basis points.
That
it's not percent. And so I actually believe the idea around Libra, I don't think we need to create a new currency, but the technology to instantaneous calibrate all the currencies, that should be done.
Who gets squished by that? Who are the middlemen who are making money on that?
The banks.
You know, we're making, as the Bitcoiners would say, that's progress for you. At least to get to the point where you're saying that about Libra. No, you're still not saying it about Bitcoin.
I think Bitcoin
I don't know if Libra is blockchain. They haven't decided. It might do that.
It has to be some form of that.
It's just ledger.
I mean,
right, but it's a basket of fiat currencies. It's like,
but you don't need that.
There's
no inherent value.
But you don't need that. If you had this mechanism in every transaction, you could minimize the transaction cost.
So it sure sounds to me like he's talking about XRP, or for that matter, even XLM. So how many times have we seen these big CEOs all describe the same thing, a need for a bridge currency? And it's not like they haven't sat around for years planning this stuff out and they just don't know what product they'll be using. But so wouldn't it be nice if they just came out and said, hey, look, we're going to be using XRP to save ourselves billions of dollars. I guess this is why people can make so much money from this space. It's a high risk, high reward because us holders are always left in the dark. And in some bigger news, we see that China had escalated their warnings to the U.S. over Nancy Pelosi's possible Taiwan trip. We've been seeing that over the last couple of days that China was issuing threats. Some people are even saying that they would shoot down her plane. If you come over here to this, we see that China's army posts "Get ready for war" message over U.S. visit to Taiwan. "Get ready for war," read a message posted by China's People's Liberation Army, PLA, 80th Group, over the U.S. visit to Taiwan. China's army war message over the potential U.S. visit to Taiwan reportedly generated over 300,000 thumbs up in just 24 hours, creating high morale among Chinese soldiers, according to Global Times. And then if we come over here today, I saw this, that Nancy Pelosi is en route to Asia. So she's on her way. I guess the threats weren't that important. So she's on her way over there. We keep hearing that we're headed towards a nuclear war, either with China or Russia or with both. My thoughts on this escalation is that there's not going to be a nuclear war. Imagine for a moment the life of these rich, spoiled, pampered politicians or elites. Do you really think they would risk their lives and their fortunes in letting war escalate to where everybody's just firing off the nukes at each other? I don't think so. I think these people are even more afraid of dying than the general public. They spend their billions trying to come up with ways of staying alive, like trying to become cyborgs and stuff. What I think is that we are in World War III, but it won't be played out with people, nuking each other and destroying everything. I think it's being played out right now, but in a financial war. The world is deciding right now who's going to be the next superpower. And now let's get into the main story for today. We're going to look at a video that was put out by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and it's called "What Are Crypto Trading Platforms?" Office Hours with Gary Gensler. Let's take a listen.
Similar or different to
Should be backing it.
What are crypto platforms, and what makes them similar or different to other exchanges you might know? When you trade on a stock market, you have certain protections. That's because way back in the 20s, the 1920s, the securities markets were rife with fraud, manipulation on the exchanges. And over the generations, the US capital markets have become the gold standard because investors have faith in them. They're protected against fraud, manipulation, front running, and the like. They're not perfect, but they've stood the test of time. What does that have to do with crypto trading and lending platforms? Well, these platforms, the crypto platforms, like stock markets, bring together buyers and sellers. Crypto platforms have millions, sometimes tens of millions of retail customers directly buying and selling on the platform without going through a broker. With so many retail customers trading on crypto platforms, we should make sure that those platforms offer similar protections. So I've asked our staff to work directly with the platforms to get them registered and regulated to ensure that those crypto tokens come in as well and register where appropriate as securities. What's more, you are literally handing over the keys to your car, or crypto. Just imagine this. Imagine handing over all of your stock to the New York Stock Exchange. That would never fly. Thus, I've asked staff how to work with platforms to best ensure your assets are protected. And unlike traditional security exchanges, crypto trading platforms also may act as market makers. It means that when you sell your tokens, one of the platforms may actually be buying on the other side. Stock exchanges don't do this. They don't serve as their own market makers because that creates inherent conflicts of interest. Thus, again, I've asked staff to consider whether it would be appropriate to segregate out the market-making functions on these crypto platforms. Look, there's no reason to treat the crypto market differently just because a different technology is used. That would be like saying drivers of electric cars don't need seatbelts because they don't use gas. We ought to apply these same protections in the crypto markets. Let's not risk undermining 90 years of securities law. We should be technology neutral when it comes to investor protection.
We have heard smart guys like John Deaton say that the SEC is coming after exchanges. Well, it looks like they might be. Here's what's going to happen though. I don't believe that exchanges are just going to sit around in the US and then just wait to be sued like Ripple was and then spend, tens of millions of dollars in defending themselves. I think what'll happen is that they'll just pack up and leave for friendlier countries. We here in the US think that the world won't make it without us, but that's not even close to the truth anymore. The US middle class is shrinking along with their spending power. The crypto space is moving to places that are friendlier, like the BRICS nations, and we saw that with the FTX getting approved in Dubai. And these BRIC nations make up roughly 40% of the population, and they have a booming middle class. The elites have decided that the US is old news. People are saying that the SEC wants to just control this crypto space. I don't think that's necessarily so. I think they want to destroy the crypto industry here in the US. make it so restrictive that anyone wanting to build in the crypto space will go to a friendlier territory. I made a video, I think my first one was talking about how there is a global shift in power from the west to the east, and how the elite have their investments now parked over in the east. These SEC attacks on crypto are planned to intentionally move the power of the next financial system from the US over to the east. We heard Brad Garlinghouse saying not too long ago that 95% of their business is now outside of the US. What does that say about America when an American company that is one of the leaders in a huge emerging industry has almost all of their business outside of the US? Brad Garlinghouse also talked about a level playing field. Well, we're seeing that right now firsthand. The SEC is leveling the playing field. They are taking away America's power to compete in the crypto market and handing it over to the East. What little bit of the crypto space that'll be left here in the US will be handed over to the likes of Fidelity, where they'll herd you into a few tokens predetermined by corporations. I like to think that I'm being too negative on this stuff. I really hope that I am. I'm hoping that maybe our government will act, our Congress will act, and they'll boot Gary Gensler out of there, and we'll start seeing America get back on top of innovation. Okay, so that's it for me now. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me to get the channel up and going. Also, comment down below on what your thoughts are about the future of the crypto market here in the US. Thanks, and take care.